Hey, what's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome once again back to the trauma-free true crime destination. How you doing, Megan L? Good to see you. It's been 2 long weeks since I was here live last. My subscription with my Streamlabs ran out, so I had to practice the fine art of both patience and doing pre-recorded dockets. But now, after 2 weeks, like you see on the ticker, we're back. Let's go. Welcome again, like I said, welcome back to the drama-free true crime destination. Welcome to Bethea'S Byte Reloaded. Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw here. So good to have you here. Yeah, 2 long weeks. That's too long, but I'm not gonna make too many excuses if I make any. We're back, and we got a good bit to cover. So let me go ahead and get you all strapped in with a little bit of house cleaning. First of all, again, thank you for joining me. I want you, if you're here already, please like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment. All free ways to help out the channel, and I appreciate that. If you desire to join the live panel, but my panel's like Fuller House. It's always open. The panel's always open. So come on board. Click the link. Copy that link. Put it in a different browser or tab, but be sure that that browser tab is either Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome, the easiest ones to use. You jump in the chat. Just remember that every comment, statement, or view that we make here, it's speculation, it's deduction, it's theory, it's opinion. It's not considered fact unless we present it otherwise. And yes, your opinions are welcome here. That's why I made it a part of my slogan. Okay, your opinions are welcome, but attacks against others are not. So if you don't like an opinion, I've done this myself last night. I clicked there. There was 3 dots right by that person's name on the right hand side in the chat. I clicked on it. I hit block. I never heard from him again. It worked for me. It can work for you too. And please, I want you all to avoid the following things here because I'm not having it. I said it at the beginning of the year. I stick by it today. I don't want any racist talk, homophobic talk, attacks on what they sound like, or a person's weight, looks, attire, etc. We're not spamming anything. We're not talking politics or religion unless it's absolutely necessary. Bottom line is, you give respect, you're gonna get respect. Period. And just in case that didn't pop up, there it is. All right, now I'm not showing off any videos just to protect myself. But even if I do from this point forward, here's the copyright disclaimer to cover myself. I do have a longer versions tucked away somewhere. That way, if necessary, I'll have it. I also have that also in my bio. On YouTube, that is. And the obligatory trigger warning. I kept trigger warning on the ticker, so now you're going to get the trigger warning here. All the stories you may hear, you will see in here, and the images that will accompany with them, it may be triggering to your mental health. Viewer discretion is strongly advised, meaning I'm trying to protect your mental health. I want you guys to protect all this here because, sure, it may be okay to be okay. It's even more okay to get help when necessary. Ask for it, but I don't want any of these stories to harm you. I'd rather you turn away than to harm you. All right. And all the articles that'll be presented here, as always, are coming from my good friends at Court TV, your front row seat to justice. All right. Now that we got that bit of house cleaning out the way, strap yourself in, buckle up. Our first ride in 2 weeks may be a little bit bumpy. I'm going to start with our missing persons case real quick. All right, let's begin. First, let me get my... There we go. That's the screen I want to get. Now, pay attention to this screen, everybody, especially if you're in the Pembroke, Fairmont, and Charlotte, North Carolina areas. This is Sarah Nicole Graham. She's been missing out of Fairmont, North Carolina since February 4th, 2015. And I'll break it down for you. She stands up at the time of her disappearance. Sarah stood approximately 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighed approximately 160 pounds, with dark brown hair and brown eyes. Here's your details. Law enforcement authorities are seeking information on the location of then 18-year-old Sarah Nicole Graham. Graham left her home in Fairmont, North Carolina around 6:30 a.m. on February 4th, 2015 to go to work at the Walmart in Pembroke, but she never arrived. Her van, which I'm about to show you in just a second, there it is. Her van was found abandoned around 12:15 p.m. on February 4th, 2015 in a field along East McDonald Road. Get a good look at these shots, folks. Now, yes, as you've seen in a couple of those pictures, Sarah Nicole Graham has short hair. She wears eyeglasses and she has braces. She was last seen wearing a blue Walmart vest. Now this is where it'll get interesting for you. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to the location of Sarah Nicole Graham. If you have any information concerning this investigation, please do not hesitate. Please contact the Robeson County Sheriff's Office at area code 910-671-3100. 910-671-3100. Oh, hold on. Let me I gotta flash this up too. I'm gonna do this right. All right, there you go. There's the Robeson County Sheriff's Office, 910-671-3100. Or you can call the FBI Charlotte Field Office at area code 704-672-6100. As always, you can also submit your tips anonymously. The address is tips.fbi.gov. Again, reminder, FBI is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to the location of Sarah Nicole Graham. Your diligence can play a crucial role in bringing Sarah Nicole back safe and sound. I want you to share this information to increase the chances of reaching those who may have valuable information. And as always, if you see something, please say something. Let's bring Sarah Nicole Graham home safe. All right. Now that we got our missing persons case out of the way, It's been 2 long weeks, and this is not a pre-recorded docket. We're going to kick things off. Okay. There we go. All right. First story up. You're probably wondering, Ernest, what are you doing? What are you doing posting up a picture of a girl and a dog? It goes with our first story. Or please just allow me to be just a bit patient here. All right. There we go. A Wisconsin woman, the woman on the left side of your screen, has been charged with animal cruelty after she allegedly killed a dog while babysitting. 18-year-old Keely Sonneman was charged on Monday with 1 count of mistreatment of animals with the use of a dangerous weapon. The Sussex family told Scripps News Milwaukee their young daughter found the dog dead under a pile of bloody blankets on Friday, January 26th. The name of the dog is Batman. The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office said it received a call that Friday evening that a family found their dog dead in their home with a possible stab wound and a plastic bag over its head. Deputies interviewed Sonneman and arrested her for cruelty to animals. She was babysitting the family's 4-year-old daughter at the time. During her interview with law enforcement officials, Sonneman did not admit to killing the dog, but says she, quote, shooed him away a little bit, end quote. And, quote, when she gets mad and lashes out, everything goes blank and she does not remember, end quote. That's according to the criminal complaint. After further discussion, Sonneman allegedly told investigators, quote, it's kind of sounding like I did it, end quote. When asked if she was upset about something, Sonneman said there was a lot of drama going on. There's at least some suggestion that this was a crime of violence perpetrated in the presence of a 4-year-old child. The crime itself was very disturbing. That's according to Waukesha County District Attorney Susan Opper on Monday. We understand that these are serious allegations, but at the end of the day, this is a Class 1 felony, the lowest level felony, obviously. Ms. Sonneman is 18 years old with no prior criminal history. That's according to her attorney, Ricardo Tapia. If Sonneman is convicted, she faces up to 4 years in prison. And the first comment I get in 2 weeks, Megan L says, "Wow, such violence for a young person." I have to agree. I mean, what could that dog have done for her to go that route? As far as stabbing the dog, really? Now, it's not said that she stabbed him, but it's pretty much implied. Stab wound, bag over the dog's head. Family finds the dog dead in a pile of bloody blankets. The implication is there. And if it does come out that she did do this, 4 years in prison, in my opinion, doesn't seem like quite enough. I mean, that 4-year-old girl is going to be traumatized for life. That's my thinking on that. All right, let's see what we got next. Mr. Allen. Let me go ahead and switch up picks real quick. There he is. There he is. Richard Allen. All right. For those of you following the Richard Allen case, here's a bit of an update for you. New photos show a metal cage where Richard Allen has been meeting with his attorneys behind bars, as those attorneys now fight to have him moved to a new facility and have the judge kicked off the case. Allen is charged with killing Abigail Williams and Liberty German in Delphi in 2017. The two friends went for a walk in the woods on a day off from school and were found murdered. In a newly filed affidavit, Richard Allen lists 19 reasons why Judge Fran Goh should be removed from his murder case, including tampering with the attorney-client relationship, violating his due process and Sixth Amendment rights, and making public misrepresentation on the record. The affidavit was filed by Bradley Rossi and Andrew Baldwin, attorneys who were reinstated by order of the Indiana Supreme Court after Goh removed them from the case in October. The October 12th hearing, where Goh told the court that Rossi and Baldwin had withdrawn from Allen's case, is the focus of much of the motion. In the affidavit, Allen accused the judge of violating his due process rights when she, quote, ambushed counsel with a planned Hobson's choice designed to coerce withdrawals, end quote, and then made public misrepresentations on the record when she described the events at the hearing outside of our controls, saying these words spoken are untruths, as the withdrawals of Baldwin and Rossi were exactly what Judge Goh had pre-planned to happen, quote, end quote. Allen also accuses Goh of changing her ruling in a prior order after his attorneys were reinstated, pointing to comments she made indicating that she would schedule a Franks hearing if the new attorneys appointed by the court after she removed Bradley and Rossi wanted one. 2 business days after attorneys Rossi and Baldwin were reinstated, Judge Goh issued an order denying a hearing on the Franks motion and denying a motion in limine. The absence of any real factual or legal analysis contained in Judge Goh's order begs the question of whether Judge Goh actually engaged in any meaningful review of the memo and attached exhibits. Allen is currently being housed at the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, where he was transferred after successfully petitioning to be moved out of the Westville Correctional Facility. But his attorneys want him moved again, citing similar safety issues to the first prison and describing their client as being, quote, shackled and chained in a manner resembling Hannibal Lecter, end quote. While the defense has pointed to Allen's current conditions as a reason why Goh should be removed from the case, the prosecution's response to their request paints a very different picture. In his response to Allen's motion for transfer, Prosecutor Nicholas McClelland, said that contrary to what the defense has said, Allen has not had showering or recreation time denied, but rather was not allowed to go outside for recreation time for a period because he was a suicide risk. While the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility doesn't allow face-to-face visits, prosecutors said that an exception was made for Allen to meet with his attorneys. The prison did accommodate counsel and set the defendant in a special room seated behind a door that was see-through that had a slot where documents, papers, or whatever could be passed back and forth. Photos of the special room attached to the filing show what appears to be a tall, thin cage with holes in it. McClelland also noted that Allen has a tablet in his cell that he can use to communicate with his attorneys at any time, and that he also has a commissary in his cell, unlike other prisoners. noting that facilities in Adams, Allen, and Carroll counties are unable to accommodate Allen. McClellan noted in the motion, this seems to be more of a motion about convenience for Rossi and Bradley instead of zealous representation of the defendant. Rossi noted in his motion that he had made arrangements for Cass County to house Allen, but McClellan did not mention that facility in his response. Jeez. That man has more problems than you can shake a stick at. It's not just a murder charges. It's the murder charges. It's fighting to be moved from one prison to the next. From that to fighting to get this judge kicked off the case. Somehow, this is just my thinking, but somehow Richard Allen is doing everything he can to get this case swayed in his favor so that there's a possibility at some point a mistrial could be declared, or if the trial goes all the way through, he'll be acquitted. But we will see how that goes out next. All right. Next up. Oh, I'll deal with McMahon later. This is the guy I want right now. This is the guy I want right now. Next. This one's out of Nashville. Detectives are trying to identify a human body after police arrested a man trying to dispose of the person at an apartment complex near that Nashville airport. Police arrested Dominic Collier for what happened at Parliament Place Apartments in Nashville. Residents who want to remain anonymous said they are constantly on edge. My neighbor's apartment has been broken into. I know several people who had apartments broken into, the resident said to Scripps News Nashville. They also hate that someone lost their life. He was treated wrong. And I feel that when a person is dead, it's bad enough you have to deal with that. Collier was seen dragging a male victim from the third floor to the second, according to the affidavit. An apartment resident told detectives they watched Collier push the body into a rain culvert. Police found the male victim with a white garbage bag tied around his head and a backpack. He was wrapped in 2 blankets, a shower curtain, and duct tape. Police identified Collier as the suspect after the property manager pulled a surveillance video. They also found the clothes Collier was wearing when he was trying to dispose of the victim. Residents alleged drugs could have played a role. The story around there is the man died from a drug overdose, but whosoever's house it was is facing legal problems. So that caused him to wrap the body up and do all the extra stuff, a concerned resident said. They said ambulances respond to the small property often. Nashville Fire and EMS told Scripps News Nashville they responded to the address 2 times so far this year and had 15 runs in 2023. Police haven't released the identity of the victim or the official cause of death. Collier's bond is set at $75,000, and he is scheduled to appear in court on January 26th. He's charged with abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and for not reporting a dead body. Dominic Collier, you're basically got. You're basically caught. So whatever you did to cause the victim to no longer cease living, A, you best own it. B, the only option is for you to plead guilty, and C, do your time. That's just it. because all that evidence plus the surveillance tape, it's all going right back to you. Right back to you. You can't use the Shaggy and Rick Rock defense on this one. You can't. There's no way you can say it wasn't me. Just saying. All right, let me look at my doc and see what I got next. Oh boy. This one. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, guys. This story right here is one of the reasons why I have a trigger warning. So give me a moment to catch my breath, get myself in the right frame of mind before I bring you this next story. And again, I'm giving you fair warning without putting up the trigger warning. If what you're about to hear next is too strong for you and it triggers your mental health, I suggest you turn away from this. You have been warned. A mother has been charged in connection to her 5-year-old son's death after he fell 17 stories from an apartment building in downtown Kansas City, Missouri, in late November. Corinne O'Connor is charged with first-degree endangering the welfare of a child in connection to her son Grayson's death. On November 27, 2023, police were called to an alley, which is where Grayson's body was located. Officers noticed catastrophic damage to his head and body, including near his eye, as well as a broken, twisted leg, according to court documents. While emergency medical services personnel attempted to treat Grayson, crews noted his body temperature was cold enough to cause concern. From the alleyway where Grayson fell, investigators saw an open window on the 17th floor of the building, which was the only open window in the back at the time. Hi, Vamos. What's good, man? What's good? Anyway, back to this story here. Surveillance video of Grayson's fall show he hit a covered walkway over the alley before falling into the alley. Investigators later responded to the apartment unit where Grayson lived and found Corinne lying in front of the window. Officers asked Corinne where her son was, to which she replied he, quote, went out the window. Megan, I'll post that comment. I'll post that comment up in just a minute, but I totally agree with you. Inside, investigators were met with a filthy scene. This is where that trigger warning comes in, folks. Feces on the ground in the entryway, food debris, and trash piled in a corner, and dried liquid all over the entryway walls. All right, before I keep going, Avamos, where have I been? My subscription to Streamlabs had ran out a couple of weeks ago. So as I said in the beginning, I had to practice the fine art of exhibiting patience and doing pre-recorded dockets over the last 2 weeks. But that's 2 weeks ago. Today is today. I'm back. And I'm bringing true crime news to you the only way I know how. And yes, all is fine. Thanks for asking. Anyway, and I'm glad to be back. I am so glad to be back. Moving on with this story, more feces was found on the floor in the apartment, which appeared to be stamped and flattened into the carpet as if it had been stepped on, according to court documents. Overall, officers noted the unit was dirty and unkempt, with food debris and dirty clothes scattered throughout. In the area near the window where Grayson fell, investigators found a copious amount of chocolate on the sill and exterior ledge of the window. The chocolate was smeared with what appeared to be child imprints. Chocolate was also found on the exterior ledge of the window, dripping over the edge to the ground 17 stories below. I already have a theory on that, and I don't even like where I'm about to go with that. I'll tell you about it after I'm done with the article. Detectives made note of the fact Corinne didn't report her son had fallen. Instead, police were notified by someone walking out of the basement of the apartment. Neighbors spoke up in the days after Grayson's death about concerns regarding Corinne. One even told Scripps News Kansas City reporter Charlie Keegan they filed a report 2 years prior with Missouri's Department of Social Services on Grayson's behalf. Investigators spoke with an apartment manager where Corinne lived, who notified police the window was fully open. She said it should be impossible because every window has 2 stops that prevent it from opening past a few inches. She also said that if the stops had been removed, it would have been done so purposely. In an eviction notice filed against Corinne, management alleged the window stops had been carelessly removed by Corinne. The notice also stated her unit was uninhabitable by the state due to very poor sanitary conditions. Corinne missed a hearing on January 25th regarding the eviction filing. Corinne was booked into the Jackson County Detention Center on January 25th. She was doing court for a bond review hearing on the child endangerment charge on February 5th. That's coming Monday. Prosecutors requested that she be held on a $100,000 cash bond. Now, there's more. In December, prosecutors said that they were mulling filing charges on the case. On December 14th, Jackson County prosecuting attorney Gene Peters Baker filed the charge against Corinne, but a court issued an order to seal the case until she was taken into custody. Peters Baker released a statement on Grayson's death on January 30th after the charges were unsealed. She said, anytime a child is injured, the criminal justice system is expected to address harm. It is our hope that the judicial process will find appropriate outcomes for the harm caused. She said the seal prevented her office from confirming the case was under review and charges had been filed. Now, let's see. Megan says, it makes you so angry when there have been reports made about a child's circumstances, but nothing is done. I know. That of course, that is one of the things that will set me off. And you're right from an earlier comment. That poor little boy deserves so much more. Yes, I totally agree with that. Now, here's my theory. And again, I don't like where I'm going with this, but this was the first thing that came to my mind. Remember, just a few minutes ago, I read that there was there was chocolate on the windowsill. There was chocolate dripping down 17 stories. I really hate to say this, and I really hate to make this kind of an assumption or a theory, but I have this crazy feeling that that little boy was chasing chocolate. And the mom literally didn't help. What do I mean? I mean, She left the window wide open enough for him to, I don't know, climb up and out, falling 17 stories to his death. Again, I didn't like that. I didn't like that theory. Probably starving. That's another good part to that theory too, because I know it's different when scriptures say that man cannot live by bread alone, but in this case, a child cannot live by chocolate alone. I'm just saying. All I want, this is of all the kids' cases that I've seen and heard, I really want this one. I really want this one to see justice served. Grayson deserves that much. And Corinne O'Connor, you see that confused look on her face? She won't have that look on her face when she gets sent to prison. And I'm making that prediction right here. She's gonna do time. She's gonna do time, but at the same time, she's already doing a life sentence. Life without Grayson. All right, next up, a story even I thought I'd never have to do, but by God, I'm doing it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and give you a proper introduction here for this one. On the left side of your screen, this is the former executive chairman of the board of TKO Group Holdings and the former chairman and CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Now, why did I do a full-blown introduction to him like this? Listen to this article. A former WWE employee filed a federal lawsuit Thursday accusing executive Vince McMahon and another former executive of serious sexual misconduct, including offering her to a star wrestler for sex. The graphic 67-page suit from Janelle Grant, who worked in the company's legal and talent departments, also includes allegations that McMahon, now 78, forced her into a sexual relationship in order for her to get and keep a job, and passed around pornographic pictures and videos of her to other men, including other WWE employees. McMahon stepped down as WWE CEO in 2022 amid an investigation into allegations that matched those in the lawsuit, which was filed in the U.S. District Court in Connecticut, where WWE is based. Grant also names as defendants in the lawsuit the WWE as a whole and John Laurinaitis, the company's former head of talent relations and on-screen general manager. The Associated Press typically does not name accusers in sexual assault cases, but Grant's representative said she wished to go public. Her attorney, Ann Callis, said this in a statement. Ms. Grant hopes that her lawsuit will prevent other women from being victimized. The organization is well aware of Mr. McMahon's history of depraved behavior, and it's time they take responsibility for the misconduct of his leadership. WWE's parent company, TKO Group, issued a statement saying it is taking the allegations very seriously. They made the statement saying Mr. McMahon does not control TKO, nor does he oversee the day-to-day operations of WWE. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Ms. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing this matter internally. Email and social media messages seeking comment were also left for both McMahon and Laurinaitis. I'll talk about that in a second. Megan. According to the lawsuit, McMahon lived in the same building as Grant and in 2019 offered to get her a job at WWE after her parents died. She alleges that he eventually made it clear that one of the requirements of the job was a physical relationship with him and later with Laurinaitis and others. Over the next few years, McMahon lavished her with gifts, including a luxury car, the suit says. It also alleges that McMahon offered one of his star wrestlers, a person not named in the lawsuit, but I have an idea as to who it is. We'll talk about that in a minute. Sex with Grant as a perk in 2021. WWE benefited financially from the commercial sex act venture orchestrated by McMahon, including by having wrestling talent such as this WWE superstar sign new contracts with WWE after McMahon presented the plaintiff as a sexual commodity for their use, the lawsuit states. Grant is seeking unspecified monetary damages and to have the court void a $3 million non-disclosure agreement, of which she alleges she only received $1 million. McMahon was the leader and the most recognizable face at WWE for decades. When he purchased what was then the World Wrestling Federation from his father in 1982, wrestling matches took place at small venues and appeared on local cable channels. WWE matches are now held in professional sports stadiums, and the organization has a sizable overseas following. WWE merged last April with the company that runs the Ultimate Fighting Championship to create the $21.4 billion sports entertainment company TKO Group Holdings, and McMahon served as that group's executive chairman of the board. Now let me go ahead and break a little bit of news. I found this out yesterday via X and Instagram. Regarding those NDAs, McMahon had those things in place without WWE's knowledge, which means the company had no idea that they were being signed. On top of that, those NDAs could be very well be null and void. So basically, as I normally would say with a Vince McMahon booking decision, damn it, McMahon. Megan says, disgusting man, yeah, he belongs in prison. Oh, he's lucky this is a civil suit, not a criminal one, or else you would be dead spot on. Now, I won't call this wrestler's name out, but I will say this. I've got a real good gut feeling that the wrestler not named in the suit is also described as a former UFC heavyweight champion. I've got a feeling I know who it is and why WWE is taking the action it's taken, because I've checked around. This person's merchandise has been dropped as far as price goes. I've heard creative plans for this wrestler has been canceled, including plans for him to be involved in the upcoming WrestleMania. If this is I'm telling you, I've got a feeling in my gut, because I've been a fan of this thing for 40 years. I own that. 40 years. I've got a birthday coming up Wednesday. This guy whom they're describing, that's not in the lawsuit, but they just simply refer to him as WWE Superstar. I know who it is. And if he is ever named in this lawsuit, his career is done. Not just in mixed martial arts, but in professional wrestling too. And you can all say and he can say the same thing with me. He can say the same thing with me as I say. The only difference is I'm not associated with WWE except a spectator / longtime fan. Uh-oh. No, Megan, no. You're not twinning with me. You are not birthday twinning with me. Well, looks like our good friend Brittany is going to have to sing both of us happy birthday, isn't she? Anyway, like I said, as far as that WWE Superstar is concerned, if he is ever named in that lawsuit, I can almost guarantee he'll be saying the same thing, but he's going to have to take responsibility for himself. But he's going to say the same thing I'm going to say right now, like I said a little bit before. Damn it, McMahon. You'll be 41. I'll be 48. So, an early happy birthday to you and me. All right, let's see what's next on my docket. Okay, let me go ahead and get this one set. Now let's take it all the way back to the beginning. There we go. Let me use my favorite NBA Jam quote on this one. He shoots. Get that shiitake mushroom out of here. A judge has denied Adam Montgomery's request to sever charges against him when he stands trial for the death of his 5-year-old daughter, Harmony Montgomery. Adam is scheduled to go to trial February 6th. Here we go. February 6th. He's charged with second-degree assault for an alleged July 2019 incident involving Harmony. He's also charged with second-degree murder, tampering with witnesses, falsifying physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse for allegedly killing Harmony in December of 2019. Earlier this month, Adam asked the court to sever the assault and murder dockets. The request came after a January 11th meeting between prosecutors and Kayla Montgomery, Adam's estranged wife, who told authorities he murdered Harmony. Following the meeting, prosecutors notified Adam's defense of 3 purported changes or additions to Kayla's account of the circumstances leading to Harmony's death in the form of a Zwicker letter. That's according to court documents obtained by my good friends at Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Adam's attorneys argued the Zwicker letter alerted them to a substantial change in evidence, and that the state now portrays the second-degree assault and second-degree murder charges as mere parts of a larger, pervasive, and sustained pattern of abuse. Ultimately, the defense argued keeping the dockets together would result in unfair prejudice to the defendant. In their order denying the motion, Judge Amy Messer cited commonality in the dockets. The defendant is the common perpetrator, and Harmony is the common victim. And Kayla is a central witness in both cases. Among other factors, the judge also cited significant duplication of witnesses, testimony, and evidence. In a separate order, the judge addressed Adams' request to prevent prosecutors from showing some key pieces of evidence to the jury. Previously, his attorneys asked that an encounter Adam had with police on December 31st, 2021, before his arrest, be excluded from evidence. They also asked the judge to prevent the prosecution from introducing evidence that he purchased lime, a metal cutting blade, and a grinder from Home Depot. The judge ruled the police encounter will not be excluded, but did limit the prosecution on their intent to introduce evidence of Adams' demeanor. The ruling also limits some of the evidence surrounding Adams' weapons convictions and other incidents of alleged abuse against Kayla and Harmony. The judge denied Adams' request to prevent evidence of the Home Depot purchase. Montgomery is currently serving a decades-long prison sentence in a weapons theft case. At sentencing, he denied killing Harmony. Well, he's gonna have to do a lot better than that on defense, because right now it's not looking good. And all that evidence he's trying to get excluded, it's not. Trying to split both cases, one being the assault, the one being second-degree murder, that's not happening either. It's all in one tight bunch, and Adam Montgomery is in a lot of hot water. And honestly, I think the judge made the correct ruling here. But that's just my opinion. We'll just have to wait to see what the trial looks like, and if Montgomery is found guilty, tack on a life sentence behind bars on top of the decades-long sentence he's already serving. Next. Karen Reed. All right, we have search warrants detail the relationship between Karen Reed and Turtleboy. In case you guys are following this particular case, here's the breakdown on that. A search warrant is suggesting a new link between accused killer Karen Reed and the blogger known as Turtleboy, who has been vocal in her defense. #free Karen Reed. Right. Karen Reed is charged with murdering her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, who was found dead in the snow outside of the home of a fellow officer. While prosecutors have alleged that Reed hit O'Keefe with her car before driving home, injuring him and leaving him to freeze, Reed's attorneys have accused the police of a cover-up that has framed her. Reed's attorneys have accused the owners of the home where O'Keefe was found of being complicit, suggesting a fight inside the house preceded his death. Aiden Kearney, a local blogger known as Turtleboy, had followed Reed's case and was charged in October with witness intimidation and conspiracy for alleged messages he sent to witnesses and investigators in her case. Thanks, Ivan Mose. Appreciate it. Follow Reed's case was charged in October with witness intimidation and conspiracy for alleged messages he sent to witnesses and investigators in her case. In December, he faced additional charges, including assault and witness intimidation. Court TV obtained a copy of a search warrant filed January 22nd to search 2 iPhones associated with Reed. In October, Kenneth Mello, the special prosecutor appointed to look into Kearney's actions, said that Kearney had received material relative to Reed's case from a police dispatcher who illegally accessed a motor vehicle database. But new search warrants filed in Reed's case further linked her to Kearney. The documents allege that Reed was giving Kearney information about her case that was not made public. They allegedly communicated for dozens of hours by phone and also through third parties while publicly denying they were in contact. Kearney, who runs several websites and social media accounts, posted at least 259 articles about the Karen Reed case, according to investigators. In the search warrant, a woman told police that she worked with Kearney and Reed to facilitate messages, which included information about witnesses, the home address of investigators, photos of witnesses, and autopsy photos. In a number of videos, Kearney shared phone numbers and information about witnesses and investigators in the case. In the filing, investigators wrote, Kearney described Reed as difficult, controlling, and that she gets irritated with him. Investigators said that there were a total of 189 calls between Kearney and a phone owned by Reed, totaling more than 40 hours, as well as messages sent over the encrypted messaging service Signal. The affidavit also accuses Reed of telling Kearney about the federal investigation into the handling of Reed's case. Prosecutors initially sought to suppress letters to and from their office from federal authorities, indicating that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts conducted an investigation in the 2023 involving witnesses from Reed's case. It is unclear what the status of the investigation is and or who the investigation was targeting. The search documents obtained by Court TV do not indicate what, if anything, was found on the phone seized. Reed's murder trial is scheduled to begin in March. See, this is the thing about us here in the true crime community. It's one thing to follow a case, but when you put yourself right there and getting yourself deep involved, you're pretty much looking at getting yourself so deep into it, you could end up being charged with something. Because you put yourself in the mix. You got involved in this thing so deep. You're trying to find but now you're trying to dig your way out before you get handcuffed, before you get your Miranda rights read. And worse of it all, the last thing you want to hear at that point, when you ask a police officer, what am I being charged with? The answer you don't want to hear is obstruction of justice. Something to think about. And Turtleboy, that's something you should have thought about too. Now, next up on the docket. Mr. Kohberger. Nah, no, I won't say if there's anybody following this case. I know there are a bunch of you guys following the Idaho 4 case. Well, according to this article that I'm about to read now, this Kohberger's trial may not start until the spring of 2025 at the earliest. It's looking like Bryan Kohberger won't stand trial until the spring of 2025 at the earliest. At a scheduling hearing, Kohberger's defense attorneys and prosecutors agreed that the sheer volume of evidence in discovery, which continues to come in, will require months of preparation ahead of the trial. As you know, Kohberger is accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in their home on November 13, 2022. Investigators say he broke into the home on King Road and stabbed Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, and Kaylee Gonsalves to death. There was a full day of hearings on last Friday for Kohberger, who appeared first at a sealed hearing which neither cameras nor the public were allowed to attend. That hearing addressed a renewed motion from the defense to dismiss the indictment, in which the Honorable Judge John Judge denied. So like I said, hold on a second, guys. 1 minute. There we go. That's what I was missing. So like I said with the Adam Montgomery case, Kohberger's defense team shoots. Get that shiitake mushroom out of here. Oh, and there's a good question. Megan says, if you're innocent, why would you want to sit in jail for years? It doesn't make sense, especially when you're offered a speedy trial. There you go. There you go. Make it make sense, right? The second hearing, delayed approximately 1 hour from its original 1 p.m. Pacific time start time, began with Kohberger's attorneys arguing for Judge to reconsider his decision not to dismiss the indictment on separate grounds of inaccurate jury instructions. The judge denied the motion a second time. Hashtag get that shiitake mushroom out of here. When the court took up the issue of scheduling the trial, Kohberger's attorney said that she did not believe the trial would be completed within the current 6-week forecast, estimating the process to take 12 to 15 weeks instead. She also asked that the trial not begin until the summer of 2025 because of the volume of discovery the teams continued receiving. Ann Taylor, one of Kohberger's attorneys, said the following in court. There is no possible way I can even read or watch everything I have now or react to things that are still coming in if we're to have a deadline in time for a summer 2024 trial. As recently as January 4th, we received discovery that contained over 9,000 tips that law enforcement had obtained. Taylor also referenced the more than 50 terabytes of evidence that had previously been given to them in discovery, explaining that more than 500 hours of HD video can be contained in a single terabyte. Prosecutor Bill Thompson agreed with the defense, saying that though they have made every attempt to hand over evidence expeditiously, outside agencies and experts are still working to go through everything. Thompson asked for the judge to schedule the trial during the summer when schools are not in session, citing safety concerns as well as logistical concerns if the trial is held while the nearby high school and the University of Idaho are in session. When the judge asked if the prosecution was potentially looking to ask for a change of venue, Thompson clarified that he did not believe moving the case would be helpful because of the pervasive interest in the trial nationally. The judge was hesitant to set a trial date so far away and said he would take the matter under advisement before issuing a ruling, and said he would prefer to have the trial held sooner rather than later. Judge said, when you're talking about a date so long in the future, potentially, maybe we can get to a point where we can move it more quickly. I'm not going to just let it hang too long, but it's really hard for me right now to set something in 2025, even though that might just be the reality. Kohberger faces a potential death sentence if he's convicted of the murders. So, at the earliest, spring 2025. And let me bring on Megan's comment back up again. If you're innocent, why would you want to sit in jail for years? It doesn't make sense, especially if you're offered a speedy trial. Yep, that's true. But at the same time, when you've got loads and loads of evidence, it's kind of hard to see it. I got it. I hate to agree with Ann Taylor on anything regarding this case, but I have to. I'm sure Ms. Taylor could employ more people to look through all the documents. While that sounds good in theory, Megan, that means every person that's seen all those documents, they would have to show up in court and practically testify to everything they've seen. In documents, in video, in whatever medium that evidence comes in. They would have to testify to that. And of course they have to when they do testify to that, they would have to be as truthful as humanly possible. $500 hours of HD video in 1 terabyte. Could you imagine what they would do with 50 terabytes? Let's see what I got next. Oh. I've got an oldie but a goodie for you. Okay, next up. Remember the Slender Man case? Well, one of 2 Wisconsin women accused of stabbing a classmate nearly to death almost a decade ago to please internet horror character Slender Man is again asking a judge to release her from a mental institution. Now 21-year-old Morgan Geyser petitioned the court. Now 21-year-old Morgan Geyser petitioned Waukesha County Circuit Judge Michael Bowen on January 16th to order a new round of medical tests and grant her conditional release from the Winnebago Mental Health Institute. If the requests are favorable, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, the judge has set a scheduling conference on the request for this Monday. Geyser's attorney Tony Cotton, who has represented her since 2014, told the Journal-Sentinel on this past Friday that Geyser has made great strides while under treatment. Geyser made a similar request for conditional release in 2022, but withdrew the petition 2 months after filing it. Geyser and Anise Ware were 12 years old in 2014 when they lured 6th grade classmate Peyton Leutner to a Waukesha park after a sleepover. Geyser stabbed Leutner repeatedly while Ware urged her on. The girls left Leutner for dead, but she crawled onto a bike path and was found by a passerby. Police captured Geyser and Ware later that day as they were walking on Interstate 94 in Waukesha. They told the investigators that they stabbed Leutner to earn the right to become Slender Man's servants and protect their families from him. Geyser pled guilty to to attempted first-degree intentional homicide in a deal with prosecutors, and a judge sent her to the Winnebago Mental Health Institute after determining she had a mental illness. Weir pleaded guilty to second-degree intentional homicide, attempted second-degree intentional homicide, and was also sent to the psychiatric facility after a jury found she was suffering from a mental illness at the time of the attack. Weir was granted a conditional release in 2021 to live with her father and was ordered to wear a GPS monitor. In my honest opinion on this, I really can't endorse letting this one go because she's more of a danger than the other girl is. Yeah, how scary makes you not want your kids to go to sleepovers, right? Especially when the MO is trying to please an internet horror character to protect their families from him. And for those of you who haven't been paying attention, Slender Man is about as fictional as fiction can get. Even before I heard of this case, I've never heard of a Slender Man. I mean, this is also a reason why I got to a point where I stopped watching horror movies because of something like this. Before that, I would watch old school Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman. A little bit further down, I watched Jason, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, Child's Play. Who else? Who else did I watch? Candyman, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Halloween, Michael Myers. Just to name a few. But I knew those were fictional characters. Sure, somebody tried to scare the heck out of me saying one of those characters was coming to get me, yada yada yada. Didn't work then, won't work now. Oh, and for the record, I stopped watching horror movies after Final Destination Part 2. So let's see. Next up. Oh, this one was the story that started my week. This was the story that started my week off, ladies and gentlemen. A woman in Mississippi is facing a murder charge after police say the body of her 42-year-old son was found concealed out of sight in a wooden box behind a false wall in her home in the coastal town of Gulfport. The Gulfport Police Department said 66-year-old Jerry Lynn Roby, who also uses the last name Israel, was arrested on January 20th and charged with one count of first-degree murder in the death of her son, John Allen Gaither. Police said their investigation, which began on December 22nd of last year, came after a family member contacted police, prompting a welfare check regarding a missing person. Officers arrived that afternoon to the woman's home just blocks of the Gulf of Mexico. Officers left and returned to the home multiple times, including on December 27th, when they say they noticed discrepancies in the woman's story. Police say Roby became increasingly uncooperative with police, changing her story. Police say that amid the investigation, they learned that Roby had been convicted of murder in Florida in 1995 and said she had been accused of attempting to discard the body in multiple locations in Florida in that case. That information helped police obtain a search warrant for the residence on the morning of January 18th. Detectives discovered the wooden box behind a false wall with a body inside, later determined to be Gaither. Police say they found multiple handmade wooden boxes at her home. During the search of the home, Roby was transported to a local hospital for medical treatment, the Gulfport police said in a statement. A police spokesperson told CNN that Roby, who was referred to by the last name Israel by police in some references, tried to cover up the crime by writing messages to family members. Police said Roby attempted to pose as her son, assuring them that he was safe. Roby is being held without bond at the Harrison County Detention Center and is considered to be a flight risk, according to police. Police shared the arrest video of Israel on social media. It is unclear if she had retained an attorney or if a court date had been set by this past Thursday. Now, you have to be something evil or desperate or both to kill your son and then hide the body behind a wall. Then on top of that, when other family members are asking about his condition, how's he doing, you're going to pose as him. You're going to write letters pretty much to say he's fine, when in reality he's not. Now let me see. Now let me think. Let me put on my my detective's hat here. If I were to call this out, I'd say the whole thing is premeditated. Everything she did, she had a plan to do. She covered her tracks well until she got caught. Why does she think that people wouldn't smell the body? You're thinking like I am, because everybody knows death has that distinctive smell. It's one of those odors you can never ever forget. And she thought she was getting away. She was getting away with something, but lo and behold, if there are any more updates on this case, I'll be sure to bring it to you. But right now, this 66-year-old's got a lot to answer for. Okay, next on the docket, there we go. This is a case that I stumbled upon, but I found out there's a number of people covering this one as well. A missing Oklahoma woman was found dead underneath a pile of clothes and boxes in her car, and her family says her tumultuous marriage may have had something to do with it. Cassidy Ritchie's parents filed a missing persons report with the Tulsa Police Department on last Thursday, after not hearing from the 39-year-old or her kids for several days, according to police. Ritchie's husband of under 3 weeks, Chris Moreland, had been arrested on the day prior on warrants out of Texas for a separate matter, allowing police to quickly find and question him about his wife's whereabouts. But the questioning didn't lead to much clarity, police said. Moreland told multiple stories and multiple versions of those stories. Moreland would not come off of any of his stories and maintained that she was just somewhere visiting a friend. That's according to the Tulsa Police Department. Upon discovering where Richie's car was, detectives towed it to a secure environment for a forensic examination, noting it had extensive off-road debris on it. But Moreland refused to permit them to search it, forcing them to get a search warrant. On last Sunday, police found Richie's body hidden in a very small space in the back of the car with multiple blunt force trauma injuries. Police arrested Moreland the following day for first-degree murder and submitted the homicide case to the district attorney's office for formal charges. Moreland has an extensive criminal history spanning multiple states, including charges of larceny and domestic violence, a history unknown to Richie's family, two of whom told Scripps News Tulsa it was possibly unknown to Cassidy as well. Cassidy's oldest son, Joey David, told Scripps News' sister station, Moreland often said the right things to gain his mom's trust, taking advantage of her kindness, and her brothers said Richie may have been, quote, too scared to say anything, end quote, after Moreland became a whole different person after their marriage. She saw the good in everybody, and she didn't deserve this at all. No one does. That's from Richie's mom, Cheryl, to Scripps News Tulsa. Our new family motto is, he messed with the wrong family. Police say Moreland continues to refuse to answer questions about Richie's disappearance and death. For now, authorities are awaiting the medical examiner's preliminary results as to Richie's cause of death, which should come within the next few days. Meanwhile, Richie's family and friends are raising money to support her family and to take care of funeral expenses. So, as far as Chris Moreland goes, you gotta ask the question: what is he hiding? What is he hiding in regard to Cassidy's death? Honestly, I believe he did it. Just basically going on from what I just read and the way he responded to police questions. Because if he didn't do it, he would have been more forthcoming as to what had happened to his wife of just under 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's barely enough time to start a honeymoon. I'll keep a lookout for updates on this one. One more on the docket before I go to the Justice Serve file. This one's out of Georgia. A mother accused of taking her 2 young, minimally clothed children into the freezing, rainy woods overnight is being charged with murder after the youngest child died, presumably from exposure. On the late morning of January 16th, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office said they responded to a call made by a 35-year-old mother, Uriah Faith Ridge, who was allegedly lost with her children in the woods. With the assistance of the Foxhall Resort Hotel, where Ridge and her kids were said to have been staying, police located the mother and her kids, Elijah and Alina, in a wooded area far from the hotel. Police noted that the children, ages 3 and 7, were soaking wet and inappropriately dressed for the below freezing temperatures they were found in, possibly causing them to become hypothermic. Once found, the deputies immediately began to render aid before all three were taken to a hospital where Alina, dressed only in a onesie, died from exposure, and her 7-year-old brother was hospitalized. While police have said the investigation is still very active and ongoing, they did make several discoveries early on, including cocaine and marijuana, which authorities believe Ridge consumed before and after wandering into the woods around midnight. My sentiment exactly. Poor kids. My sentiment exactly. Despite having a fully charged cell phone, the call for help was not placed until the next morning at 11:51 a.m., which means the three of them were out in the elements for an estimated 8 to 10 hours. Ridge, who is being held without bond at the Douglas County Sheriff's Office jail, has been charged with felony murder and 2 counts each of first and second degree cruelty to children. Documents obtained by Court TV revealed that this wasn't Ridge's only open case. The mother was arrested in November 2022 after causing a drunken scene at a Thunderzone Family Entertainment Center in Douglasville. The prosecuting officer said Ridge, who appeared intoxicated, was yelling vulgar, profane, loud, and unbecoming language at her 2 kids, who were 2 and 6 at the time. The officer said Ridge was seen punching her son in the back of the head and dragging him across the bowling alley. She was also cited for pulling her daughter away from others and then drunkenly dropping her from shoulder level. Ridge has secured a public defender to represent her at her first court appearance, which was scheduled for January 29th at 9:30, and I have to get the update on that. But yeah, poor kids. This is the kind of story that really just boggles my mind. How do you... No, never mind. I just thought back to what I just read. They found cocaine and marijuana, and they being police. So I'm gonna put 2 and 2 together and say she was high as a doggone kite to take herself and her kids with not a lot of clothes on in below freezing temperatures in the woods. Megan's thinking like I am already. There are so many people around the world that cannot be parents and would love the opportunity to love them. It breaks your heart. It absolutely does. It does. I mean, I've said this on numerous occasions covering stories just like this. Parents have an obligation to do one job when it comes to kids. Care for them, raise them, love them, teach them. It's all in the same job description. And that goes for fathers too. Yet, you have these so-called parents who do the absolute and total opposite. And the children already suffers enough. The children already suffer enough. They got to suffer more on top of that. I'm sorry, but even I Can't stand that. Well, that takes care of the docket, but I do have one last update for you. Actually, two. And this is coming from my friends at Court TV, as I mentioned before, your front row seat to justice. And the first one will have to do with one to the justice served file. There we go. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. First of all, Bowling with Cotton Balls. How you doing? Well, welcome to the drama-free true crime destination. Let's see. Do you by chance have or know an update on the Ordwell, Colorado baby killing parents? You were one of 3 channels to cover it, but it didn't catch steam. Sorry, so late. I haven't heard any updates on that case yet, but I'll be sure to do some digging, and if I find something, I promise, as I always do, I will bring it to you. Now into the justice served file. Note the face on your screen, and note how everything I have stacked on the sides. This is Erica Stefanko. She stood a retrial in the murder of Ashley Biggs. And of course, that's what we do. That's what I do here. Bethea'S Byte Reloaded. Anyway, Stefanko had originally her conviction overturned, and she had a retrial on the same murder and aggravated murder charges. A jury found Erica Stefanko guilty, and before the sentencing went down, the prosecutors had a nice little gift package. The gift was that they could take one of the charges and nail Stefanko with that. The sentences for aggravated murder, if the prosecution had chosen that, would go 20 years to life in prison, 30 years to life in prison. Oh, excuse me, wait, I'm jumping ahead of myself. 20 years to life, 25 years to life, 30 years to life, or life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentence was handed down a couple of days ago, and I gotta admit, this judge may have decided to get a little creative with this. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, Stefanko was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole until after serving 30 years. Now let me break this down. The jury deliberated for more than 8 hours over 2 days before finding Stefanko guilty of murder and aggravated murder. And under Ohio law, as I've mentioned, Stefanko was sentenced just on one offense of the prosecution's choosing. Judge Jennifer Towell sentenced Stefanko to a term of life without the possibility of parole until after serving 30 years. During the reading of the sentence, Biggs' mother could be heard screaming in reaction to the sentence. As far as I'm concerned, jealousy and envy when it comes to down to cases like this. Erica Stefanko is getting exactly what she deserves. This whole thing with child custody and the relationships that she was involved in, this, that, and the third, or that whole mess. If I can't have them, no one else can. Blah 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 blah. It's foolish, and she's paying the price for it. She has to spend the next 30 years behind bars, and at that, when 30 years are up, that's when she'll have her first parole hearing. Will she be there? Will she get out after 30, or will she end up spending the rest of her life behind bars? We shall see. But as far as I'm concerned, this is justice served. I have one last update for you. Again, coming from my friends at Court TV, and I am going to scroll back here real quick and hit the old copyright disclaimer, because I was not expected to play any kind of video, but this warrants it. All right, so now we got that.
All right, folks, time to reveal something else you need to know on this Groundhog Day. Take a look. Oh, there she is. That's Sarah Boone from the suitcase murder trial. She's written another letter to the judge, and guess what? Attorney number 7, Winston Hobson, has filed a motion to withdraw as her attorney. Oh, my goodness. You would have thought the 7th one was the charm. In addition, even the judge has now left the case, and Sarah Boone has written a letter to the new judge. Let me read it to you. No. Finally, a new judge. It's strange how the Lord works, as I was in the process of trying to disqualify Wooten after being my judge 4 years and me still incarcerated with nothing to show other than 7 different attorneys, not by choice. Either way, I'm still here, waiting patiently, and very excited to get this highly anticipated show on the road. Thank you in advance, Judge Kranick. Welcome. Yeah, like, welcome to the crazy show. This is unreal. I've never seen anything like it. 7 attorneys withdrawing from the case. Sarah Boone. This thing's never going to happen. It's like an ongoing joke at this point, and, of course, appropriately all happening on Groundhog Day.
Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. This woman cannot keep an attorney, and apparently she can't keep a judge either. 7 attorneys, and the presiding judge said, you know what, I'm done. I've had it. I'm done. I'm out. I mean, Confucius say, those who lack patience will become one. Sarah Boone, you are about to become a patient in some mental facility. Oh boy. I wonder who's gonna be big enough, bad enough, and bold enough to take her on as his or her client. Number 8. This is almost a dare. Step on up. And to the new judge in the case, again, I wish you the best of luck too. All right. That's it. That's it for me. Guys, it's been 2 weeks. And I thank you for hanging here with me. I thank you for just being patient with me on this wild roller coaster ride. And I plan on being back here next week, same time, same place. Thanks. Bowling with cotton balls. You have a great weekend too. And if you haven't had a chance to get a hold of me via social media, what was this? Oh Lord, Megan, if she gets Casey Anthony's lawyer, she's gonna be walking. No matter what the charge, whatever she's charged with. Okay. If like I started to say, if you haven't gotten a hold of me yet on social media, let me make this real quick. I'm on Facebook at Bethea'S Byte Reloaded. I'm on X, formerly known as Twitter, at EKB316. I'm right here on YouTube. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't had my Streamlabs in a couple of weeks, but I'm still here. You get me here, Bethea'S Byte Reloaded here on YouTube. I'm on Instagram at EKB316. I'm on TikTok, King of Hearts 316 2021. You can also email me. I will not mind reading your emails. The address is kingofhearts316_09 at outlook.com. Thank you, Ivamos. And thank you to everybody who's been in the chat. Thank you to everybody who's stuck with Bethea'S Byte Reloaded. I appreciate you more than words can say. So I take the time. I want to say, be good to yourself, be good to others, be kind, protect that mental health, and hopefully we'll do this again next week, same time, same channel. The drama-free true crime destination is Bethea'S Byte Reloaded. I'm Ernest Bethea, the Last Outlaw. Thank you so much for joining me, as always. And until we meet again, God bless you all. Megan, again, happy early birthday. And until next time, you all know what to do. Bite this. Thanks for watching and joining me here at the drama-free true crime destination. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and drop me a comment on this video. And be sure to follow Bethea'S Byte Reloaded all over social media. This is Bethea'S Byte, and it's reloaded.